So let's discuss zeroth law. So see here. What is zeroth law? If you guys can recall anything about zeroth law, do you have some memory? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somewhat you are somewhat correct. Very good, very good. See, actually, what is zeroth law? It is very easy, easiest law actually you can say. So first of all, this law is about the thermal equilibrium. Whenever there is a name of zeroth law, you should first bring the idea. Okay, it is about the thermal equilibrium. What does it mean? Suppose you have any object A and you have any object B. So suppose A and B, they are in thermal equilibrium. So in last day we have discussed what is thermal equilibrium. There is no temperature change. So because there is no temperature change, so they are in thermal equilibrium. And suppose there is another object C, and B and C, they are in thermal equilibrium. So automatically A and C will also be in thermal equilibrium. This is zeroth law. So actually zeroth law is about thermal equilibrium. When A and B are in thermal equilibrium and B and C are in thermal equilibrium, then A and C will be in thermal equilibrium. One line, that's all, concept over. In zeroth law, by the help of zeroth law, we develop our thermal scales. That is very, very important now. So I will give you a formula. Based on that formula, we will develop scales. So if you understand this logic, then you can make your own scale. I mean, suppose you have a cup, and in this cup you are keeping hot ginger tea. And suppose you became astronaut and you are staying in the colony. That colony is on Mars, and you are the first person staying on Mars, and you are kind of person that, okay, I will not use anything, any concept from whatever we are using on the earth. Everything, every science, everything I will change on the Mars. Numericals and examples and variables, everything I will change. So you are thinking, I will not use degree Celsius, I will not use Kelvin, I will not use degree Fahrenheit, I will not use Rankine. Like these four popular, I will not use. I will make my own scale. So how will you make your own temperature scale? Guys, understand my point. If a person is this much tall, then in meter, if you will count, suppose it is coming 1.1 meter. But if you will count in, suppose if you will count in inch, then of course that will not be 1.1 inch. It will be, you can consider around 70 inch, something like, I'm not sure, some rough data. Suppose in inch it is coming at 70 inch. So you see this part. Here you have 1.1, here you have 70. So I want to ask you guys, why this 1.1 and 70 is not matching, but the person is same? What is your reply? Very good. Means if I will use some other suppose just imagine a name. Suppose I am giving a name, any name. Suppose I am giving name Lovely. So suppose I am saying that this height is 3.2 Lovely. So you should know, right, that how much Lovely we are considering one Lovely. I mean, how much height we are considering as one Lovely. Then only I am saying. Okay, guys, we'll start. So I mean to say, whenever you want to create a separate thermal scale, so you should give your value. Suppose you are going on the Mars, and according to your Celsius scale, you are finding that on the Mars temperature never goes down below minus 10 degrees Celsius. So here you are using Celsius according to Earth. So you are saying, okay, every time whenever temperature goes down, it will never goes down below minus 10 degrees Celsius. So there you want to create a temperature scale and you want to give name lovely. Means you are thinking that, okay, the minimum temperature on the Mars, I will say 0 lovely. But according to Celsius, it will be minus 10 degrees Celsius. But according to Mars, because you are the first person on the Mars, so you will say, okay, my temperature goes from 0 lovely to 100 lovely. Okay, but see, temperature, the feel is same. Temperature is same. Only the value and unit is different. Are you getting what I'm trying to focus? I'm trying to focus, if you have a hot cup of tea, the hotness is same, but the values in Rankine, Kelvin, Fahrenheit, Celsius will be different. It does not mean your temperature is different. No, your hotness, the degree of hotness is same. So you should know how to write any kind of equation. So already I have given you the relation between temperature scale and I mean all the 4, 5, 6, 7 scales I have given. So now I will give you one final formula in which you can design your new temperature scale. So here, designing new temperature scale, and based on this, first you take the formula, your formula. So you can go in this way. We have to consider any hypothetical scale. So let's consider the scale as a national temperature scale. Any name I am giving, national temperature scale. So suppose according to this scale, your water is boiling at 100 degree N. Now see what is N. N is neither Celsius nor Fahrenheit nor anything. It is N. According to us, water will boil at 1000 degree N. National temperature scale. And we are considering the water will freeze at 100 degree N. You see here 1000, here 100. It may be difficult to feel, but just feel. We are designing a new scale. You should not have any trouble. Temperature, the main feel of temperature will be same. Only we are changing the numbers because we are changing the temperature. Scale we are changing. So here it is boiling, here it is freezing. Okay. So I can ask you, we have to correlate this concept with Celsius scale. So how can we correlate? So you are going to get a fresh equation for this. Totally fresh equation. That equation you can write as T degree N. It means in national temperature scale will be T degree Celsius divided by 100, 900 plus 100. It means what? If you know any Celsius value, you can convert that Celsius value into national temperature scale, or you can say lovely scale or anything scale by using this formula. So in this formula, this 100, 900, 100, how these are coming? Because of this assumption. We have assumed water will boil and water will freeze as these 2 points. So whenever you want to make any new scale, you should know, you should give in the beginning itself in advance, you should assume your freezing point of water and boiling point of water. So that's all. Based on this equation, you have to now I can ask, suppose you have any value I can give you and I can ask, but majorly your question will be framed on degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, Rankine and Kelvin, and already in the chart I have given you the formulas how to convert them, interchange them. So based on this also we have some basic formulas. Let's solve one small question. Question is very simple. So suppose I am giving CO2 gas and it is at temperature 336 degrees Celsius, and I want to know this temperature in degree Fahrenheit. So how can I find the temperature in degree Fahrenheit? So for that you should know direct formula for degree Fahrenheit is equal to, it is nothing but 1.8 degree Celsius, and then you have to into T, 1.8 times T degree Celsius plus 32. So whatever is the value of degree Celsius, that value substitute here in T and multiply with 1.8, then add 32, you will be getting Fahrenheit value. So it will come 636.8 Fahrenheit. So like this you have some more examples in your PDF, you have to solve those examples. So your zeroth law is very easy, and under zeroth law you don't have to remember anything, only 4 formulas of temperature you should remember, and then we will start our first law of thermodynamics, very important. Based on this you have based on first law you have numericals also, and you have theories also. So let's understand first law of thermodynamics. Now see guys, actually when you are discussing first law of thermodynamics, before that you should understand we have a closed system and we have open system. In closed system, system size may increase, decrease, but flow will not go out of the system. I mean whatever mass is inside, that will be inside. Size of the system may increase or decrease, does not matter. Like for piston, use piston will go up and down, so size will increase or decrease, but any mass will not enter. So it is closed system. Open system means it is a pipe, like flow is coming, flow is going out. In both the cases we have to understand first law separate. So when you are applying the first law, so first job is, first of all we have to understand what is first law. Then we have to understand how to apply first law for closed system and how to apply for open system. So first I will teach you what is first law. So see guys, before understanding first law we should understand what is conservation of energy. See, imagine you are a person and first time in your life you are eating first time food you are eating. Suppose you are eating 4 rotis and some amount of rice and some basic foods and something, few things you are eating, and after you are eating, everything will contain some energy, right? Everything will contain some energy. So suppose 100 joule energy, everything is containing 100 joule energy. You are eating 4 items and all the 4 items are containing 100 joule energy. So it means you are consuming 400 joule energy. Then when next day you wake up, so you go to washroom. So after going to washroom, some amount of matter you have to eject in your bathroom, toilet. So even that matter will contain some amount of energy. It means whatever you eat, everything will not be helpful to grow your muscle, right? Some amount of energy definitely next day it will go out as a matter, waste matter. But that waste matter is a matter, and matter has energy. Okay. So this matter, what is coming out, that energy and what energy is being used in your muscle build-up or something. Both the energies if you will add, it must be equal to 400 joule. It means in any system, how many types of energies are going and how many types of energies are coming out, they should be same. Okay, so this is what energy conservation is. Some type of energy is converting into some type of energy. Another example, suppose you have fan and this fan is rotating. So to rotate the fan, you have to supply some kind of electrical energy. So when you talk about electrical energy, then suppose some 300 joule energy you are supplying per second. This joule per second is nothing but watt. It means 300 watt power you are supplying to the fan. And then some fan is rotating, and this fan is of 100 watt. Fan is of 100 watt means it is 100 joule per second. Means you are sending 300 per second, you are sending 300 joule, but fan is producing per second only 100 joule. Then where is 200 joule going? So this 200 joule is actually converting from electrical form to sound, to heat, or something else. So but main intention is this 300 joule energy is actually converting into different forms of energy, but again the total energy is 300. So energy conservation says you cannot create extra energy. If you are supplying 300, then this side it will not be having 400, and or if you are supplying 300, then this side it will not be 200. You cannot create, you cannot destroy, only you can change the form of energy. So after understanding the energy conservation, you should go to understand first law. First law also is a type of energy conservation, but it is only valid for heat transfer and work transfer. First law of thermodynamics is also a type of energy conservation law, but it is only related to heat transfer and work transfer, not other forms. No sound energy, no kinetic energy, no something else, no something else, no something else, only heat and work. This law says in any system, when you supply heat and suppose that system is capable of producing work, then whatever work you are producing, that will be proportional to the supplied heat. Now see here, what is this symbol? So guys, see, whenever any property is being changed, you use d for that. For example, if x is being changed, so you write dx. Y is being changed, you write dy. But d symbol you will use if your properties are point functions, and del symbol you will use when your properties are path functions. So whenever any system is accepting heat, of course heat transfer is there, so del you will use, del q, or you will use dq, but one cut here. In different books, different notations are there. In same way here, when you have work transfer, you use del here. So whenever any system is there, and if that system can accept and produce work, then produced work will be proportional to del q. And after that, when you will remove this proportion sign, then what will come? Del w is equal to j times del q. Okay. This j is known as mechanical equivalent of heat, and the value is 1. J value is 1. So what you got here? You got here one idea. That idea is your heat, when you are supplying the heat, it is giving you some amount of work. But see, whenever there is a heat supply and whenever there is a work done, and we are designing a machine, we actually do a complete cycle. So before that, you should put cyclic integral. I mean, if I change the page, cyclic integral of work done, work transfer, is proportional to cyclic integral of heat transfer. What is difference between integration and cyclic integration? Actually, suppose you have PV diagram and you are going only from here to here. Then you are going from point 1 to point 2. then in the integration you will write that you are going 1 to 2. But if you are coming back again from 1 to 2 to 1, in that case how will you write? You will write 1 to 2 and then integration 2 to 1. But you do not write like this, because you are coming to the same point. It means you completed a cycle. So in this cycle, how much work is trapped, how much work is done? So you don't write 1 to 2 2 to 1, you just put cycle. This is the meaning of cyclic integral. So we produce work in a cycle. So cyclic work done, work transfer, either you say work done or you say work transfer, same meaning, is actually proportional to cyclic supplied heat, or you say supplied heat, or you say heat transfer. Then in the next step you will remove this sign and you will put is equal to J times, and the name of J is mechanical equivalent of heat. Then what will happen in next step? This is integration, guys. This is integration. So I can do one thing. I can take this thing this side. So cyclic integral I will take common, and I can write here my del Q minus del W is equal to 0. I can write this. Why I can write this? Because when you will take this side, nothing will be remaining here. Here you have one mathematics involved. That mathematics you should understand. Whenever you have any constant number, whenever you have 0, and if you will integrate that 0, then you will be getting a constant number. Guys, integration, if you can recall, if you have a constant and if you are differentiating the constant, you will be getting 0. But if you will integrate the 0, you will be getting constant. So see, I have integration sign here. So which is telling me to integrate the equation. If I will integrate the equation, then I should get some constant here in next step. So I can write del Q minus del W is equal to some constant I should write here. According to mathematics, it is giving me a constant. But in real life, this constant, when you will study, it is actually the stored energy. It means what? Whenever you are supplying any kind of heat transfer. Now see, to understand the physical field, what to do? You take this W this side, then I will explain the physical field. So whatever you are seeing here, this is coming from mathematics. Now I am going to explain the physical meaning of this. And this constant, when you will study in real life, it is nothing but the total energy, or you say stored energy, and very soon I will tell you that it is internal energy. So see now what to do. I am getting my del Q minus del W is equal to some constant here. And simple, you make this formula more simple so that we can analyze this formula. So I will use my heat transfer is actually, send this W this side, is actually giving me some amount of work, plus it is giving me some extra energy. This energy I am going to tell internal energy of the system. So I am going to tell, whenever you will supply the heat, my internal energy of the system will increase. Actually, why I am saying internal energy? Mainly, actually, it is stored energy. But in last class, I taught you stored energy is nothing but the internal energy plus kinetic energy plus potential energy. So I am considering, when I am supplying the heat, kinetic energy and potential energy, these people are not being changed. Only internal energy is being changed. So in next step, I will simplify this equation and I will write in more easy and format way. It will look like this. Your del Q is actually is equal to del W plus du. Now question is, why I am writing del here and del here but d here? Because U is internal energy, which is point function. But W and Q, they are not point function, they are path function. That's why I am only writing the symbol here, del symbol. Del means these people are always transition. I mean, they are always traveling people. They don't store, they don't stay. They are always in transition. That's why I'm using del. But this guy is stored guy. Now, your first law is nothing but heat and work relation. Correct? Whenever you supply the heat, that heat will go to work plus internal energy. Let's have the physical meaning of this. Now I will explain physical meaning. See guys, suppose you have any chamber. In this chamber you have piston involved. You are supplying any heat. Because of application of this heat, suppose some molecules are there. Understand one thing. When you are not supplying the heat, that time piston is not going up. But when you will supply the heat, immediately piston will not go up. It will take some time. Actually, whenever you supply the heat, suppose you supplied 100 joule heat. Actually what happens? First of all, these molecules will increase their internal energy by using some heat. It means suppose 20 joule energy is being used to increase the internal energy. Increase means change. So du is 20. And the remaining 80 joule will push the system up, piston up. It means whenever you supply the heat, some part of the heat will increase the internal energy of the object, of the gas, and then once the gas are enough energetic, then they will use the remaining energy to perform the work. So this idea what I have explained here, I have taken example of closed system. So that's all. At the same time I taught you application in the closed system also. So whenever you have any closed system, in that you have to supply some heat. That heat you write del. So first it will increase the internal energy and then it will give you work done. So this became your first law. So from the first law you are getting a quantity that is known as internal energy. So based on this they ask question in GATE exam. Internal energy is introduced in which law? Zeroth law, first law, second law? None. First law. Means internal energy is the outcome from the first law. When I will teach you second law, there I will teach you from the second law entropy is coming. From the first law du is coming. Internal energy is the very important outcome of the first law. It is only depends on the temperatures. Let's understand now. There is something called PMM1. Have you heard about this? PMM1. Can you remember the full form of this? Full form? Can you recall? Guys? No, right? Okay. The full form is of this PMM1 is perpetual motion machine of first kind. So no need to take note because PDF is there. You can read the PDF. Perpetual motion machine. What is the meaning of PMM1? Actually, PMM1 is a hypothetical machine. In real life, it does not exist. Because why it does not exist? PMM1 says you can actually make a machine which will give you work done without supply heat. It also says you can make a machine which will produce heat without accepting work. It says you can make also a machine which produce work also and heat also. It also says like they all are PMM1. It also says that you can have a machine which will accept the heat and it will not produce anything. You can also have PMM1 like it will accept the work but it will not produce anything. They all are PMM1. You can also have a machine which will accept heat and which will accept work also, but it will not produce anything. So these all are the PMM1. They all are impossible machines. Why? Because they are violating first law. It means they are not saying, they are not accepting first law. They are violating first law. According to first law, whenever you have heat transfer, then only you will be having work transfer. Or whenever you have work transfer, then only you will be having heat transfer. but you can see here. And one more thing, when you say transfer, okay, transfer word contains both, either in or out. So when you want to be more clear, then you say work input, work output. If you will say transfer, then transfer is not well defined. Transfer means okay, in is also transfer, out is also transfer. Okay, now we go for whatever we have learnt from the first law. We have learnt energy is always conserved, and we have learnt that whenever you have internal energy, it is only the function of temperature. We have also learnt your PMM1 is an impossible machine. And which law is violated by PMM1? First law. Okay, actually you have some limitations in first law. That's why we are defining second law. What are the problems we have with the first law? First law says energy is conserved, but first law does not say that which energy will convert into which form easily. First law says, okay, if energy will if something will happen, energy will be conserved. It means sound energy will convert into motion, work will convert into heat will convert into work, but it will not say which direction is possible, which direction is not possible. It is only talking about the magnitude. First law is only talking about the magnitude. Guys, are you getting what I'm trying to say? Yes. So because direction is not clear here, it's like, see, first law is saying that suppose my student is Dhruv here, right? So suppose Dhruv is here, and suppose Gaurav is here. We and suppose my student call me Viru sir. Suppose I'm Viru, I'm here. So we all together, suppose I'm taking only the example of Viru and Dhruv. So we have a student-teacher relationship. If I will say that I have a student-teacher relationship, then this will not define who is student, who is teacher. Guys, are you getting? Yes. According to, see, in our basic life, river comes from high level to low level. But according to first law, whatever potential energy is here, same kinetic energy will be here. So first law says, whatever potential energy is here, same kinetic energy here is here. Same line I can write, whatever kinetic energy is here, same potential energy is here. But according to first law, you cannot know that can river go up. This has no idea involved in first law. So that's why we have second law. So first law is fail to define the direction. Which energy is completely converted into which energy. For example, first law cannot tell you which energy is high grade energy, which energy is low grade energy. What my point is, if you have 100 joule work you can convert into 100 joule heat. But if you have 100 joule heat, that is not possible to convert into 100 joule work, because heat is a low grade energy and work is high grade energy. Just now you saw today, your heat first, some part of the heat converts into change in internal energy and remaining converts into work. Okay, so some questions are there, some 10 examples are there. All the 10 examples you have to solve based on this chapter. If you will solve all the 10 examples, this chapter will be completely clear, and whatever doubts you will be having, we will discuss those doubts after class. We will not discuss numericals and doubts in the class, because it will disturb our class timing. So 2.5 hours every day, we will be having classes. After class, we will be discussing your doubts, so that we should not disturb our class time. So that's all for today.